Well, David, first of all, what is Primer?
Primer is a new theological resource published by the FIEC. The whole idea is to help pastors give theological leadership to the church. When Paul talks to Titus about what it is to lead the church, he speaks about encouraging the church with sound doctrine, refuting those who oppose the truth, and passing that truth on. That's what Primer is all about.
And how did the idea for Primer come about?
Well, so the FIEC Theological team for a while has wanted to serve pastors by giving them a resource that will help them do that kind of ministry. One thing that struck us was it takes time to prepare and to equip ourselves for that kind of ministry, to think carefully about the truth, to think about being fresh in our understanding of the truth ourselves, and then thinking about the ways in which people are talking about the truth within the church or opposing the truth, and then thinking about how we respond to that. That idea of refuting that Paul mentions in Titus is quite a big question. It is a question of how we identify things that are wrong, how we respond to them, how we show that they're wrong and why. That takes time. So we wanted to encourage pastors to take time over those issues. We also wanted to save pastors time. We realise sometimes it can be bewildering when we're trying to understand an issue. What should we read? Because there are just so many books on the Trinity or something like that. We wanted to boil it down and distill and give a kind of digest for pastors. On the other hand, sometimes it's just so hard to find good resources on some of the issues of the day. So we wanted to dig those out for pastors, help them understand some of the big issues, and give them a resource that will help them to defend the truth and to celebrate the truth.
Now, this is a physical document. It's not something we get online. Why does it look and feel the way it does?
Yeah, it's a great question. We could have put it all online, and people may have downloaded it. They may even have skim-read it. But my experience is, in chatting to a lot of people don't generally take time, slow down, and work through those kind of arguments slowly. And that's what we need to do with some of these big issues. So we've produced something that we hope will motivate people to put the kettle on, turn off the phone, sit down and work it through. We've designed it so that on each page there is space to make notes and reflect and think more about those things. We've chosen even the paper so that it's easy to write on. There's space to do that. So that's why it's a physical book. Then each issue tries to do that job that we've described, taking people from understanding how people are talking about the doctrine today and then thinking about what wisdom there is from the church history. So each issue includes one historical text, and then we make some notes over that to help people understand what that text was about and how it applies today. And then we try and rub it into pastoral ministry, thinking, how do we then communicate the truth of these things better, more persuasively, inside and outside the church?
So you've mentioned there a little bit about how we can use it in terms of annotating it. How do you expect leadership teams to use this in their churches? What would you advise?
Yeah, so we'd love to see church leaders themselves being refreshed and deepened in their understanding of the truth and their joy in it, to then go and teach it in their churches, but then also to share it. That was what Paul was calling Titus to pass it on and to train up others. And we hope that Primer can be used to do that. So on the website there are discussion questions around all the articles, so they could gather around their leadership teams, their elders, their home group leaders, and read it with them, maybe an article at a time, and use that as a way of training up the next generation.
Now you can follow Primer at PrimerHQ, and you can go to the website primerhq.com. What are the plans for future issues of Primer?
So the next issue is going to cover the doctrine of sin, thinking about how we communicate that. In the past we've talked about sin as rebellion, sin as law breaking, sin as idolatry. We're going to reflect on those different models and how they stack up against the Bible. We're going to be thinking about how we talk about sin in relation to things like addiction, and the whole idea that now we're entitled to things and are victims when things don't go our way. We've lost as a society the whole idea of sin. So we'll be thinking about how to communicate that better. Beyond that, we're going to think about, God willing, the issues of gender, how the church grapples with how quickly society is moving in their understanding of gender.
Thank you.